Okay, this is the last of the videos for week 3, and really these will work for week 4 as well. For those of you working in arconline, you have very limited resources. The data that you're going to upload, we're going to be using our study area boundary just as a reference, but then you're primarily going to be working with the automobile accidents, and you're going to have actually a significantly smaller subset than the rest of the class. In Arc Online, you are limited to 1,000 point features, and so what I've done is shrunk your data set. You'll upload that. It'll look a little different than what we might see in class, but we're going to be doing the same type of basic definition query to density. So let's get started. So here we are in our arconline, arcgis.com environment, and for those of you again working in this environment, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding from the file, and we are going to be using simply for you the study area crashes. You're going to add that one, and again please keep the original features and import the layer. This will take just a moment. We're working with a moderate sized data set in normal environments, but in the ARC environment this is fairly substantial. So we have our locations here, and the first thing that we're going to be doing is we have, and I'm going to do 2 of them, and I'm going to have you do the other 2 on your own. But what we're going to be doing is, remember, we wanted to compare January versus July, and then those alcohol related accidents versus those that are non-alcohol related. And in this form of analysis, or in this environment, we do this really through the analysis tools in 2 steps. First of all, we're going to go into our analysis, and in this case we're going to find locations, and we're going to derive new locations. And so this is how we do, again, a definition query really on point features in Arc Online. So we're going to click on derive new, and we're going to add an expression. And so we're going to say study area crashes, and we're going to start with the alcohol part because it actually they do these alphabetical in here. And so I'm going to click on that, and alcohol related is, and again I'm going to click on unique, and we're going to start with yes. We're going to say add, and what we're going to call this is, and again you have to give it a name, alcohol yes, and you'll say results in yours, and yours will show up there. And I'm going to use the current map extent. I'm going to click run analysis. Okay, so I took a break there from this. It takes a little while for this to run, and you'll notice that now my alcohol yes shows up, and it has a different symbology to it. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to run the second piece of this. So again, the first thing I did is I said in a definition query effectively run, and again I run that in analysis, find locations, derive new locations. So again, I'm going to do a new expression now, and this time what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to say from my study area crash. Okay, and so now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at crash month is equal to, and again we're going to get our uniques, and we are interested in January. So I have January there. Again, the next one you would do will be July, but we're going to do January first, and I'm going to click add, and I'm going to now, this is going to be called again crash January, and we'll run this one. Okay, and now I have crash January and my alcohol yes. And again, I want to point out these are slightly different scenarios. Okay, they look a little bit different here. Now, what I'd like you to do is do those 4 where alcohol related, REL, is yes, is no, and where crashes occur in the month of July. And so you can do each of those on your own, and you'll see how you can practice this. The next step, though, is that we want to then, for each of these, we are going to be interested in a density. So now what we do is we go into our analysis again, and we're going to look at patterns. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to calculate a density. I'm going to click on that, and let's do the first one for crash January. There is no count field, and then we'll let it come out as crash January density. That's fine. And in this case, please note in your options, there really aren't much in terms of options other than you typically want an equal interval, and you can leave that as 10. Our output units are going to be in square miles, and that's all fine. So now we run our analysis. Okay, so now we have our crash density for January, and I'm going to turn off our points so we can kind of see this. There's our density, and you'll notice that again we have kind of a transparent view here, but you can see where these are concentrated. I'm going to do the same thing for our alcohol, and we'll be able to compare them. So again, analysis, analyze patterns, calculate density. And in this case, again, I'm going to use alcohol yes, no count field, and we're going to have everything else the same, and we're going to leave that. I'm going to run the analysis. Okay, so now we have our alcohol density yes, and I'm going to go to our legend. It'll help us see this. So our alcohol density yes, and what I want to compare that to, I'm going to turn it off, and then I'm going to turn on our crash density in January. And what we can see if I put these two back and forth on is that in fact their distribution and density is quite different. So again, I've done two of these. What I'd like you to do is alcohol density no, or I'm sorry, alcohol related no, use the density for that. And then for our crashes in July, the same density. So do each of those, do your screen captures, and we will see you on Monday.